Welcome to the Partnership Path Podcast, a space where your partner management challenges are transformed into insights, where your expertise isn't just recognized, but celebrated. You're not alone on this partnership journey, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. We're here to guide you, to equip you. Dive deep with us into the world of partner management as we bring you real-world insights, expert advice, and strategies that truly make a difference. Ready to elevate your career? Let's take another step on this journey together.
Hey, John.
Hey, Tony. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm actually really good. It's sunny here today, so I'm always in a better mood when the sun shines, and so I'm doing good. I'm good, and I'm
Shining
excited
here
to take it.
too.
Is it? That's so weird. The UK sun?
Yeah. Just for 5 minutes, and
Okay.
then we'll
All
be
right.
we'll be all wearing our winter coats again.
There we go. Yeah. And I'm excited, of course, to take another step on the partnership path. So
Yeah. Well, this episode, I have got a topic for you.
okay.
And I think it's a topic that lots of people will have strong opinions on, or at least certainly have memories about. And it is
Okay.
the partnership business review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Something specific
sometimes
about
referred
it?
to the QBR quarterly business reviews.
Ooh.
Send a shiver down lots of people's spines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm kind of thinking about here is, well, I suppose, how do we get the most out of them? And how
Yeah.
do we make sure that our intent and our approach is right before we even start the meeting?
Yeah. Well, let's start with this, that the first thing we have to do in terms of any kind of a business review, whether it's a quarterly or an annual or
Mhm.
whatever it is we have to stop acting like the partner works for us.
Yeah.
Like as if this is some sort of accountability exercise where we're
Yeah.
holding an employee
Yeah.
accountable for producing their quota. Like that is
Mm.
not what these should be. And
No.
I mean, our partners don't care about our internal metrics. They don't. And yet that's, we sit down with them and we use words like, well, we didn't get enough ACR out of you, or,
Yeah.
and that's just meaningless to them. So
It is.
that's the first like general rule is quit acting like your partners work for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I?
yeah,
I'm going to ask this question because I always
yeah.
did it in every review I ever had. If you don't know what an acronym means, you need to ask. ACR, John. What is it?
Annual contract revenue.
Oh, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
Put that in my book.
Yeah. So you have sort of like in this SaaS world, right? We
Yeah.
have total contract value or
Yeah.
total contract revenue,
Yeah.
right? Which, because they typically sign up for 3 years or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can only, when you look at how does that relieve quota, how to all that, you're looking at
Yeah.
just the annual value, like how much of that is year one, right? So
Yeah.
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 So good point. And I bet our partners are thinking the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah.
you using this term that's an internal metric that I don't care about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So once we can get over the hump of thinking that partners actually work for us,
Mm.
I think the next thing about these business reviews is it's all about attitude and positioning, right? Which is,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about this partnership as an entity, like we've talked about
Yeah.
before, that one or more organizations, or I'm sorry, two or more organizations are sort of coming together to go to
Yeah.
market together, and that creates this partnership. Well,
Yeah.
that means that all of the partners involved, all of the entities, whether it's a
Yeah.
2-person partnership or a 3-person partnership or whatever, they are all investing time,
Mm.
money, and
Yeah.
people into this partnership.
Yeah.
And so, and then usually each one of those organizations puts a person, a resource in
Mm.
charge of kind of managing that. So on one
Yeah.
side, it might be called a channel manager or a partner manager. On another side, it might be called the alliance manager,
Yeah.
or for a particular vendor, it might be, oh, well, I'm the Infor manager, or I'm the Microsoft manager, or
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the Amazon man, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And so they've invested these people. So really what a quarterly business review, a partner business review, any kind of business review, what it should be is those managers, those people that were put in responsibility to sort of tend to the partnership. They
Mm.
should be sitting down on the same side of the table, looking
Yeah.
across the table to the stakeholders from
Yeah.
all of the other organizations. So they should be looking at their bosses essentially
Yeah.
and saying collectively, here's what we did with your money.
Mm.
Right? That's really what a partnership review should be, is the
Mm.
people that are responsible, the stewards of the partnership,
Mm.
coming back and saying, hey, look, here's what we said we wanted to do together.
Yeah.
Here's the goals we set. Here's our long-term vision and how these goals are helping us get there. Here's what we actually did.
Yeah.
And, here's what we're going to do next, or here's where we need your help, or whatever. Right?
Yes.
How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great. And I made a note of kind of, you've got something that you care about together. If you are thinking about framing that partnership as an entity, it does change the dynamic. And the
Yeah.
attitude, as you say, it's not saying, well, that person didn't do that. It is
Right.
about, well, what have we achieved, collectively done together? And something that I found was when we were asking for help, we tried putting that at the top of the meeting, and that worked really well, because we'd
Yeah.
often go through a process where we got to the end of the meeting and then went, oh, and now we've got a really big ask.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
sorry, you've only got though, I've got somewhere else to be.
Right.
But I think,
Yeah.
yeah, you're quite right. I think it's quite but people will have a bit of a light bulb moment from that.
Man, it's a
Go,
it's a huge fundamental thought shift, right?
mm,
That
yeah,
and so here's the other thing I would say about reviews is the partnership goals, if you set
mm,
them right, the partnership goals are um, somehow relevant to both parties.
yeah,
In the simplest format, right? Let's take a vendor who has software, and the partner is a services partner that
hmm,
implements or
yeah,
deploys that software in some way, and so they have services revenue. And so our
yeah,
partnership goals should be a combination of either license or subscription revenue and the
yeah,
services attached to them, right?
yeah,
And when we sit down in a partnership review, we should be thinking that if we didn't make both of those goals, so
mm,
if we didn't achieve both the software and the services goal, then we collectively failed,
yeah,
right? We don't get to say, well,
yeah,
we did our part. We
yeah,
sold all the software, but you didn't get your services. Too bad. So
yeah,
Yahoo, we're successful. Or yeah, I know you got all your software revenue, but we didn't get our license revenue. So we're going to we're going to really front. Like, we failed
yeah,
collectively. Not
mm,
this is one party holding another accountable. It's the partnership holding itself accountable,
yeah,
right? I,
yeah,
I it's when we have talked about this with people in the job, it's a huge shift for them to think this way, right? To kind of shift that thinking to be, okay, wait, I'm not going in there to ask the partner, what have you done for me? I'm actually going in there with my partner counterpart and presenting to our executives to say, here's what we did. Here's where
yeah,
we succeeded. Here's where we didn't. Here's what help we need. Here's where we need to change course, all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. It's a different way to do it.
It is. And what's your thoughts on the kind of briefing process beforehand? I've kind of had counsel that would say you don't want to walk into any big surprises. So especially if you're
Right.
bringing,
Yeah.
very senior members of the team together. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that whole pre
For
uh,
sure. For sure.
review
Each
process?
of those stewards.
Mm,
I think the stewards need to come together, kind of figure out what the messaging is. What did we
mm,
do? What didn't we do? what's the appropriate way to message this in each of our organizations. And
Yeah.
then those stewards, right, should be going back and doing that to prep their executives for this meeting.
Mm.
But it needs to be a consistent story,
Yeah.
right? Where this breaks down is where we agree with our counterpart, hey, yeah, you know what, we're both at fault. And then we go to our executives and go, well, the partner didn't pull their weight, right? I mean, that's where partnerships fall apart, right? If this is all about building trust and making sure
Mhm.
that we're really in this together, it means, we gotta take the fall. We gotta go back to our executives and say, look, the truth of the matter is we did hit the license goal or the
Mhm.
subscription goal, but we didn't hit the services goal. And that's because that's our fault. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't support our partner in the right way. And so we
Yeah.
need to step up and we need to do some things differently, or they're not going to want to partner with us anymore. Right. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we need to be honest about that.
Yeah.
And take the hits where they come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it kind of shows a level of maturity as well, doesn't it? Because, like you
for
say, the
sure.
partner doesn't care about our internal
Yeah,
machinations or acronyms or
yeah,
what we
that's
need.
right.
It is, and I guess likewise, there are some things going on within the partner that may be of little consequence to us, but the key is that when it comes to that partnership, there has to be that true alignment and
That's right.
honesty and openness and treating it as something that we are equally invested in.
Yeah, yeah. Not
Hmm.
It's way easier said than done, but
Yes.
super important to make
Yeah.
an attempt at it, right? You gotta try and get there and make an attempt at doing it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, what should we ask of the audience this time? I'd love
Well,
to hear some tips and tricks.
tips and tricks for sure. And I just want to hear how people react to this, right? Like, I think we'll
Mm,
get some pretty visceral, might be strong, but I think we'll get some pretty strong reactions to this, of whether this is even possible, whether people believe this is possible, right?
mm,
I know it's possible. I've done it. I've coached people through it. I've watched it happen. Um,
mm.
but it's a big enough change. I think it'll be interesting just to see kind of how people react and what questions they have. Like,
Yeah,
how can we help them? How can the community come together and help people make this transition to that kind of a business review? I think we'd love to see it. And for those people that are doing it, love for you to share those tips and tricks and best practices. Yeah.
fantastic.
So,
Yeah.
listeners, it's over to you.
Thank you for joining us on the Partnership Path today. Remember, in the vast world of partner management, you have the potential to shine, to become the authority in your field. Don't let the journey end here. Subscribe, reflect, and lead. Together, let's redefine the essence of partnership in today's dynamic partner ecosystem. Until next time,